Hi everyone, this is Bev, Clarkovision, and I just thought I would do a little video today. It's highly controversial. No, that's the wrong word. I'll just say I was unsure if this video was going to happen, but here it is. Anyway, it's an attempt, so if I pull this off and I'm happy enough with it, it'll be uploaded. So yeah. Just looking at this here, this is one of these adverts for the Axe guitars that basically is a cheap starter pack for the guitar enthusiast back in the 80s. And I'm just... £78 would get you a practice amp, carrying bag, brilliantly simple book, a tuning tape. Oh, so there's a tape, a cassette with tuners on. A lead to plug the guitar in, a strap, obviously a pick, and postage and packaging. And the guitar itself comes with 22 frets. It's a full-size guitar. You get a choice of colour, which I think the colours were black, red, grey and white. I've only ever seen pictures of the black and red versions. Tremolo arm, 2 humbuckers, 3-way toggle switch. It says a fine action adjuster, so I'm not too sure what that is exactly. I know for fine action adjusting, it's something to do with the tremolo bridge, where all your saddles are, etc. But that looks far too simple, but what would I know? Just going on a picture, there's probably something there. Volume and tone controls and a year's guarantee. And all that for 78 quid. And I wanted one of these back in the day. I saw the advert for the red one first and that's what I wanted. But yeah, I'm just looking at this because this is the greatest ever Kerrang issue, and in particular the cover of Kerrang that they ever had. That's Steve Clark on tour, top of the world in 1988, or 87 I should say. 14th of November 87 today on here, 90 pence, number 162, and I'm just showing this because this video is really to be just a wee bit about Steve Clark, my guitar hero, original guitar hero, who passed away 32 years ago today in 1991. I was just 14 at the time. So yeah, it wasn't exactly yesterday. And I just thought it might be an interesting little video just to go through my music stuff and show you some of the, well, most of the stuff that I have featuring Steve Clark on it as an audio video. Now the majority of the stuff in this video is going to be unofficial releases because there isn't a lot of official stuff out there, ridiculously, but yeah, that's the truth. So it's where to start. I've got bits and pieces everywhere. If I can reach over here, bear with me. Just turn this. Quite pleased this thing's on wheels. I can manoeuvre it so that I don't have to make an arse of myself try to get out this chair. Right, so first off we'll start with this little bundle. This is videos. So these 3 on the top are official releases, right? We have 2 copies of Historia here. Second one I picked up off eBay years and years ago. These 2, however, are my original copies. I got them both for Christmas simultaneously, one year and one the year after. This is all the official videos that were made for songs, for singles, by Def Leppard, from Hello America right through to Love Bites, actually. All of them feature Steve. And this is the one and only ever official live video release of a concert featuring Steve Clark when they were on tour in 1988 in the USA, in the round stage. So yeah, to this day, this is the only official video footage this band has ever given us of Steve. Even worse if you're a Pete Willis fan, I might add. And he really was quite important to early Def Leppard as well, but there you go. So that's my two original videos, VHS, and I played this, watched both of these a ton of times. Ton of times. Never got tired of watching them. He was just amazing on the stage, that man. So these two videos are unofficial, that people made up, and I got these when I first got on the internet in the year 2000. I had Windows ME, and my first computer was a Packard Bell. We had the old dial-up, you know, and I first got on the internet then, and it was in the early years of the internet, which you found people online. You would browse the Def Leppard communities, and you'd get in touch with people who had stuff and were sharing stuff that they had. And these were two, and in fact, I think I got this one off eBay, to be honest with you. This is a video, home video, and it's not even around. Look at that. This is the Def Leppard tour manager's private video. From the Hysteria tour. So this is footage from behind the scenes that was filmed by the tour manager at the time. Was it Neil Jeffries? So there was behind the scenes footage of the band. Really interesting stuff. And this is a compilation of stuff that people have gathered, TV appearances and TV shows. You've got things here such as the Nuremberg. Oh yeah, this is the only footage I have ever, and it's poor quality footage, but you've got the Nuremberg Festival from 1986. That is video footage from the Monsters of Rock festival, but one of the German shows, Nuremberg. And it's shot from somebody in the crowd, and they're quite far back from the stage. However, nonetheless, it is video footage, and I think it's the only piece of footage, video footage that exists. Unfortunately, it's hard to kind of see. But you've got Too Late for Love, American Bandstand. You've got things like an interview for Sounds on Australian TV. You've got Hello America and High and Dry, Rock Arena, Australian TV. You've got Skytrax. You've got, what have we got here? We've got the Dortmund Festival footage. You've got Animal from the Roxy and Top of the Pops. You've got Pour Some Sugar on Me from the Roxy and from Top of the Pops. What else have we got? Okay, Japanese interview from 1984. So, but again, you know, these are all video clips that were taped and put onto a tape, etc., etc. So the quality is generally not great, but it was just good to collect all these things, all featuring Steve. So that is the VHS. So a few other things I'll just show in connection with what I've just shown there. This is the official Laserdisc. Remember that, people? CD video Laserdisc of Hysteria, same as the video I've just showed there. But if you needed a Laserdisc player or a CD video player, you needed one of these machines in order to view this. And I just wanted to have this because it's all the stuff that I have, I wanted to have it because it all features this man here, Steve Clark, my idol. It's his work, so it's important to me to just have it. And the same for In the Round in Your Face live. Again, same live video footage, filmed at Denver. Well, the majority of it is Denver, Colorado, and there's some inserts from another couple of shows, but yeah. I'll just, this is the Japanese edition, because it says limited edition Japanese import, and it plays on PAL, because I think Japan's stuff is kind of similar to the UK. Their stuff would work on UK stuff, and it's the same with DVDs. Their kind of video DVD stuff works here as well. So this is basically what your thing looks like. It would come in an inner sleeve, of course. I think the Historia's on a gold coloured disc. This one's the silvery one. And that's basically what your disc looks like. Two-sided thing. There you go. Yep, so there you go. Quite thick as well. You know, if this was vinyl, it would be at least 200 gram thickness wise. Probably more than that actually. But quite a substantial piece of thing. 1989, made in Japan. Stereo digital sound, it says on it. I'll never be able to play these because I've never had, and I probably never will own one of these machines, the CD players, the Laserdisc players. But just to have the item is what I wanted. So yeah, these are official. Is that all the official I've got to show you? Certainly for long enough. What I've just shown you is effectively all the official footage of Steve Clark. Hence the reason why everything else I've got is unofficial. So one of the most recent bootleg releases, this just came out, I don't know, was it 2020 maybe? Or 2020 or 2021, this came out. This is Def Leppard live at the BBC, 7980. This was given to me from Kevin, War God. A very wonderful item to have. Sure, it was you that gave me it, wasn't it? Oh no, this was Jim Davies. You gave me the CD version, Kevin. And I think it was Jim, oh, I can't even remember. Jim Davies that sent me. Apologies anyway if I've got it mixed up, but it was gifted to me. And it's just black vinyl on the mock of the Vertigo spaceship label. So this is classic Def Leppard right here. This is great stuff. So that's one. We have interview picture discs. I have a few of these. Again, these were unofficial releases. And this is a back-to-back interview, and I believe, if memory serves me right, it's Joe Elliott from around 1980-81, something like that. We have the Talkies interview picture disc, which is absolutely fantastic because it features Steve and Phil from around 1984-85. I think they're being interviewed in the studio during the Hysteria sessions, and although the audio quality isn't great, you do get to hear Steve talking about music and writing songs and stuff like that, which is extremely rare to get a hold of, that kind of stuff when it comes to Steve Clark. This is Telltales, Def Leppard, made in England. So this one I think is from 1987, and I can't remember, but I think it's Phil Collins. And the Chris Tetley interviews, Rock Sagas. This one I think is also from 1987. The time of the interview is 1987. I can't remember if it's Joe and somebody else, but there is no better picture disc on the planet than this one right here, as far as I'm concerned, for the picture. One of the most expensive records I ever purchased, but was an absolute must-have, is Sugar on the Rocks, complete and utter bootleg from the Hysteria tour. And specifically, this is important because this is the Edinburgh Playhouse recording from 1987, September 87. My hometown. Would have given my right arm, leg, head, anything to go back and see this. But so it's a double disc set. I think it's a US issue. It's made in the USA and it says promotional copy, so I don't know if it was originally just for DJs or something. I have no idea, but it is unofficial. The sound quality is not fantastic. There you go. It's decent, but again, it's not high quality, you know, as in soundboard recording or anything. I think it's more of an audience recording, this one. There's the other disc, and it even has custom labels on it. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is kind of hard to find as well, but I just had to have it given of the nature of what it is. And you can, it's the most bootlegged cover makeup ever. I mean, they've even used a poster photograph from Smash Hits magazine to use on the cover, because that says Smash Hits up here, I think. And I used to have this poster as well on my bedroom wall back in the day. So there you go. And it cost a pretty penny to get that. We have another bootleg live at the top, Def Leppard. This came out, this was a 1987 release. But it is, I think, the stuff on it, I think, is from 1979 or 1980 at the Paris Theatre in London, I think, is where it was recorded. I'm not 100% sure if that's right, but that seems to ring a bell. And it's on Aaron Records, and it's promotional use only. That's what the label looks like there. Again, so this is vintage, classic, early, new wave of British heavy metal, Def Leppard. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And this is pretty, from what I recall, it's fairly decent sound quality as well on that one. And I have all three formats of this one, so what I'll do is I will turn this table back round so I can reach again. I can get my hands on it better. This last one, probably one of the most famous of the unofficial releases, is First Strike, which was a collection of early demo tapes which was released by the band's original management without the consent of the band at the time. Therefore, Def Leppard did not endorse this. It was released in 1984, contains stuff from 1979, recorded at Fairview Studios, Hull, 1979, remix at Hank's Basement Lodge Studios, West Germany, in 1984. So yeah, this is an absolute gem of an item. early demo tapes of some of the tracks from On Through the Night, and well, yeah, just mostly On Through the Night stuff. And some stuff that never made it onto the album. There was Heat Street, See the Lights, Glad I'm Alive. I think did that end up as a B-side on something? Frank Stewart Brown was one of the former managers before Q Prime. Well, Peter Mensch came along and Q Prime took them on and all that sort of stuff. So this is just absolutely a must-have. Really high quality sound-wise as well, and I happen to have the CD as well, and the original cassette version of it as well. So superb stuff, all featuring Steve in his young glory. Very young at that age they were. And what I've got here as well, which I kind of keep beside this now, is just a piece of interesting nostalgia. This is a Def Leppard newsletter from the original fan club back in the 80s. And at this point their fan club address was P.O. Box 670, Old Chelsea Station in New York. And this is the summer newsletter from, I don't know, 84, 85, something like that. So it tells you what they're up to, which is working on Hysteria in the studio. It's a two-part thing. And the interesting point is they issue a warning about first strike. So obviously hadn't long been released at this point. And the band are basically saying, we're not of you. Well, I'll read the whole thing. In case you haven't heard, Def Leppard's former manager has taken some demonstration recordings the group made back in April '79, remixed them, pressed them on what sounds like Rice Krispies. Actually, no, they sound very good, and has released them. Needless to say, this is without our permission and not on. We are taking steps to see that this is stopped and will never happen again. We are not amused, avoid at all costs. So you can tell that's them saying didn't bother touching that sort of thing, but personally, I'm so glad that Pete Martin, is that his name, Pete Martin? Frank Stewart Brown, Pete Martin was the other guy, Frank Stewart Brown released those gems, because we probably never would have heard them, and they're absolutely fantastic to hear. For somebody like me, it just warms my heart to hear something rare from my personal star, where there is so very little out there of him. I'm truly thankful that, albeit it wasn't done correctly, but I am truly thankful it happened. So, what else have we got on vinyl? We have this, the First Strike EP. 2 copies, one's on black vinyl and one's on red vinyl. I got the black one and Jim Davies sent me the red one, and again this is a short EP of some of the same unreleased demos that are on First Strike. That's why it's the First Strike EP. So you've got 4 tracks here that are also on here. So yeah, just absolutely fantastic to have. Right, so what next? This I've had since, let me see, it'd probably been 1992 I think I found this, and I found it at a flea market in Detroit, or in the Detroit area. My first ever trip abroad was to relatives in Canada, and they stayed in Windsor, Ontario, right on the border from Detroit. So they took us across there one day shopping, and we went to this flea market, and there was a a desk with all this music memorabilia, and I saw that and thought I need to have that, so there we go. So more unofficial stuff. All stuff featuring Steve. I have Def Leppard Under Fire. These are what I'm going to term as real bootlegs, as in proper CDs, even though it's unofficially released and all that, and unofficial material and stuff. But these are real CDs. I also have a pile of CDRs and DVDR stuff that's just been computer technology, shall we say. So Def Leppard Under Fire. This contains the Dortmund Festival in '83 and the Reading Festival in 1980. That was, I think that's an Italian release. This one here is an Australian release, unofficial, unauthorised Def Leppard Live Volume 1. And it contains, I think these are songs from either the BBC sessions or the Reading Festival. I can't quite remember which one. So it would be 1980-81. Now, it's not the Def Leppard EP, but they used the Def Leppard EP picture for the CD cover. It's actually called Def Leppard The Early Years on that CD. And there you have it there. Some absolute gems on here as well. Tracks 1 to 6, Reading Festival. 7 to 9 are the original versions of the Def Leppard EP. 10 and 11 are the original versions from the single Wasted, which is different to the Wasted on Through the Night. Track 12 is a non-album track from the B-side of Hello America. That's Good Morning Freedom. And track 13 is the original version of the B-side from Bringing on the Heartbreak, which is Me and My Wine from 1981, not the remixed version. We have Wasted in Seattle, soundboard recording this one, so this is high quality, decent sound. This is from the Seattle Kingdom in Seattle, Washington, USA, 3rd of August 83. This here is a, what was my phone? This is the official, it's a promo, not for resale, but it is a proper official promotional thing for the BBC. This is the Rock of Ages CD sampler, which was released for DJs, I think, in conjunction with the up-and-coming BBC documentary that would have been aired on BBC Two in early 1990, January 90 it first aired, and I recorded it, the documentary, and so it's just a sampler from then. I think it even has the date inside from when the thing aired. This is the most recent, well, one of the most recent, shall we say. This is fairly recent, although it says 2016 here. Def Leppard, the 1980s, or in the 80s rather. This is an audio interview with Steve Clark, so for me this was a must, and it's him giving answers to questions that some guy is asking him. Problem is you don't get to hear what the questions are, you just get Steve's answers. So occasionally you're not sure what particular moment in time or subject he's actually on about, but nonetheless, this is Steve, and it's rare, and it's from 1988, the time of the interview. This is another recent re-release, unofficial, of the BBC sessions and stuff like that, I think, and demos. So we have First Strikes, plural, 78, 79, and you've got, yeah, it's all demos and live stuff, BBC sessions, stuff recorded at the Paris Theatre in London as well, live, from November 78 through to December 79. So yeah, it's pretty much got a whole load of stuff from the early days, well worth having, and it's good quality sound as well. Another must have, this again is another Italian issue. This is Stage Fright, and this is the complete uncut audio soundboard recording from the In the Round in Your Face video. This is the full show. They did edit and cut some parts to fit on the video, but you get the full show here with the tracks that were omitted from the video. Plus you also get a couple of tracks from their sound check before one of the gigs, and what's really cool about that is you get two versions of Run Riot that they're doing in the sound check, and that's a song you've never heard them do live. So just to hear that take in the sound check is fantastic as well. So what else? This one, I found this one while I was on holiday in Florida, and I found it in a shop on International Drive in Orlando. Def Leppard one-man band. Again, this is more, it's actually, I think, oh no, this contains audio footage, audio recording, sorry, from Tampa, Florida and Denver in 1988, again for the Hysteria tour. And this one is the last of the proper bootlegs, if you like. War Child, which again is fantastic to have. I was so chuffed when I first landed this CD quite a number of years ago now. But yeah, it contains BBC from 1980 live and some demos from 1978. It just doesn't get much better. So that's all the kind of official videos, and I'm going to move them off of there because knowing my luck, I'm liable to knock them and they'll go crashing to the floor. And so that finally just leaves me to quickly run through these actually. Let me just grab, these are other official, when I say official I don't mean official, what I mean is actual CDs, not CDRs. And actual DVDs. I acquired these some years ago as well, and these are interview discs for American radio stations in the studio. It was to do with the Pyromania era, and the week, it tells you the week it aired, 4th of Feb 91, but it was from the 80s. And this one is Def Leppard Up Close. It was a 2-disc set, again another interview with the whole band, all about Def Leppard and stuff like that. And when these VHS tapes were issued on DVD at some point, we have Hysteria and In the Round in Your Face are both on the one DVD, but not very high quality remaster, to be honest with you, because the if I'm referring to it in old terms, the dubbing is out. The audio and the visual are not in sync, which is really poor. And the classic albums series that was released, I got Def Leppard's Hysteria, obviously, to have that. And this one is actually another unofficial DVD release. It's Pyrographic, it's called, isn't it? I'm sure it's called Pyrographic, and it's got interviews with the band. It's all about the Pyromania era. That's kind of part of the back cover. So more. These are all DVD-Rs containing video footage from all kinds of things, and I'll just quickly run through it. So we have the tour manager's video, which I showed you the video, the VHS earlier, so tour manager's video on here, and we have live footage, video footage from St. Louis Arena in St. Louis, 10th of February 88. Hollywood, Florida, December 87, and part 2, it's a 2-disc set. On here I've got this written as Steve Clark 20th anniversary. So in 2011, he'd been gone 20 years. And I used to run a website called Steve Clark Guitar in loving memory. And a bunch of us who used to conflab on the message board, it was just a small group of diehard Steve fans, and we'd chat quite often, came up with the idea of gathering some questions that we'd like to ask Phil Collen about Steve Clark, and somebody managed to get in touch with Phil Collen. I can't remember who it was, but somebody knew someone who had connections, etc. So we put this to him, and he agreed to do it. And he did it in 4 parts. He answered 5 questions on each video, which is why there's a set of 4 videos. And they're on YouTube to this day, those videos, so if you want to see them, you can look for All About Steve Clark, and it'll be part 1, 2, 3 and 4. And yeah, he answers all our questions and talks about Steve, and it's just the coolest thing. There's also footage from Lorelei Shellist. That's private footage from her. Lorelei Shellist was Steve's girlfriend, fiance for about 7 years. So that was a good chunk of the 80s. She was with him. And another boy who I got to know, a big fan of the band as well, he put together a tribute video of video clips of Steve, again for the 20th anniversary. So that was just something else I've got on here. Again, that's more of the 20 questions. Hysteria compilation DVD. So I've got about 6 Hysteria compilations, and it's all TV appearances, adverts. There's footage from Norwegian TV, Monsters Rock Show, which was something Mick Wall used to host, MTV Video Awards. You've got the Def Leppard story, the BBC documentary. What else have we got? Some extremely rare footage. I don't know where it came from Sheffield City Hall. Video footage. Again, you've got them on TV AM and Breakfast TV in 1987. You've got the San Remo Festival in Italy, 1988. Beatbox Ireland. Disco Ring Italy, Spruchreif in Germany. The audience on that clipping, they barely look alive. It's quite amusing to see them. Love Bites on Pop Formula. You've got stuff from Holland, Japan, Australia, all kinds of the UK, just TV appearances. So I've got 6 Hysteria discs, and I've got 2 of them Pyromania TV stuff. We have Mountain View, California. I have about 3 copies of this. Mountain View, California, in August 88 was one of the pro shot concerts that's out there, and the tour manager's video again, and more Mountain View, California. Actually, I have about 5 copies of that. There is the Dortmund Festival in 1983. That's the whole show, not just the Def Leppard section. We have some live Pyromania footage, pro shot footage again. So from 1983, you've got Milan in France and Dortmund, Germany. I think that's the Dortmund Festival again. And also on here you have a clip, one of the greatest TV clips I've ever seen. They do a live take of Armageddon, which is recorded from the studio in Holland in 87, just around before the release of the album Hysteria. And this is for a Japanese show called Music to Battle World. Absolutely amazing stuff. I just wish all that was officially released properly. We wanted this stuff to be officially released for years, but who do you go to ask, you know? I mean, so on this one we have Australian TV footage of an interview with the band on a boat in Sydney Harbour from the Pyromania era. We've got Rick Savage and Rick Allen being interviewed by Phil Alexander during 1988, and I'm sure he was the guy that did Raw Power. You've got a 1984 Japanese interview. Def Leppard, The Story Of, another thing. Behind the Music, VH1 Planet Rock Profiles, VH121, and then you've got again Animal from the Roxy and Animal from Top of the Pops, and the same with Sugar. More of the BBC documentary from 1989. And Round in Your Face. That, I think, was... I took a copy directly from the video onto a DVD when I had all the equipment to do that, because it was better than the DVD that they officially released. And just more random clips. That is the video, but then there's audio I still have, right? This is the last bit. I can't believe this has gone into 42 minutes. I actually can't believe it. So, and I've collected this stuff from places like eBay as well as other people online. Audio interviews from radio stations around the world. 2, 4, 6 CDs of radio interviews from back in the day. More interviews from the Pyromania era. I have interviews 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 from my friend, one of my friends. She sent me, I don't even know what's all on it, I haven't listened to them all. This is another bootleg, and I think, is this an actual CD or is it a CDR as well? I'm not really sure. That looks like a CD. Yeah, I think that's an actual CD. And it's Def Leppard in Milan from the Pyromania tour. So 1983 in Milan, Italy somewhere. Yeah. More interviews. 1A, 1B, 2AB. Some of these radio interviews include Radio Clyde, Scotland, somewhere in Denmark, which is an interview, somebody's interviewed Steve on a Danish radio station. It's amazing. Ibanez guitar interview with Phil Collins from '86. That's highly rare to get a hold of. Up Close 1989, Rockline 1987, these are American. Metro Radio Newcastle 87, Interview 1983, that's America. We have Radio Hallam Sheffield, Piccadilly Radio, and well, I'm assuming that's a London radio. The Chris Tetley interviews on here, just so much stuff. The Friday Rock Show, Radio 1, 1987, on Austrian, oh that's 1992, so that doesn't really count, but yeah. What else have we got? We have Tokyo, Japan, 1988. We have Radio Clyde, Scotland, Simon Mayo Show. What else have we got? We've got the Talkies interview on here, Copenhagen, Denmark again. More radio stuff. Some of these radio interviews do happen to contain interviews from Radio Clyde, which is a Glasgow radio station. The chap from Radio Clyde came and interviewed Joe Elliott when he was at Edinburgh Playhouse for the 2 shows in Edinburgh, and I've got the recordings of these. I've got Radio 4th tributes to Steve Clark. So when the news broke of Steve dying, the following, it was a Tuesday when he died, so the following Friday and Saturday, BBC Radio 1's Friday Rock Show and Edinburgh's Radio 4th's Edinburgh Rock did tributes to him, which is what that is. Gee whiz man, there's so much stuff here. Rock Till You Drop documentary, all radio interviews. We have an interview with Steve Clark here, which was done in 1989, which I was very kindly sent by some lady. I can't even remember who the devil the woman was. Somebody called Glynis, who very kindly sent this to me with strict instructions to not share it. And to this day I have kept her wishes and not shared it with anybody. But yeah, it was cool. Hysteria World Tour. This is Tear It Down, which is another what's the word, bootleg recording from, I think that's a soundboard recording somewhere in America. Edinburgh 1980 is Live at Tiffany's in Edinburgh 1980. That place no longer exists. It's now a block of flats, and on the other side is a gig from Newcastle 1981. Fantastic stuff. Live at Fort Wayne, Indiana, 1987. The Friday Rock Show, again 1987. I think that was the one that Cloudy Milder sent me. Fantastic. Audio interviews. More audio interviews. So, there you go. That's pretty much all the stuff I have. As you can tell, being a Steve Clark fan, it's quite tricky to get a hold of stuff relating to him, but whatever. But yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to go through all this, show you what I have, and I also have, which I wasn't really going to talk much about, but these are the tour programmes from the High and Dry tour, the Pyromania tour, the UK Pyromania tour. I do have 2 copies of this. One of them still has the merchandise sheet inside. Hysteria 1987 tour. 2 of these as well. The Hysteria 88 UK and European tour. Hang on a second. 2 of these as well. The Hysteria tour for the USA. 1988. I wanted to try and grab the Japanese one as well, like this, but it's kind of pricey. And this one is not the Steve era, but there is images of Steve in it, which is kind of nice. That's the only reason I picked this up, is because there is pictures of Steve in it, so no other reason. So that's it, guys. Thanks for being with me on this rather long, which I did hope would be a short video, just sharing with you all the stuff I have featuring the late great Steve Clark. And I'll see you all in another video. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye just now.